Okay, here we are. Hi, it's Jen Matott, and I'm here tonight for Rita. She's unable to do this one, so I'm doing it, and I got a fun project for you. We're going to be using this metallic textures kit. This is one of our new kits using all the metallic Lux. You get a little bit of each of the colors that we now have in two gelatos, and then you get a little knife to mix up, and two stencils come in there, as well as a variety of pages for this book that I'm gonna make tonight, so you can make a project with that. There's also palette paper, which is this slick non-stick kind of little mat that you get, so you can mix up your stuff on that. So we'll be using that for some things. All right, so here's the metallic textures, and now I'm going to show you what we're going to make tonight out of that. I'm going to set that aside. And this is the little project that I made with that kit. Let me get you centered. There we go. It's my little Take Flight Journey book. So it has a great, very thick journal board with metallic border around it for the front cover, and then we're going to add all this stuff on here. And then the second page, I'm using the craft paper. This is a craft paper page, so you can see the metallic. We're going to do some fun stuff with the Lux here. Oh, all right, so for our giveaway, we're going to give away a metallic kit, the metallic textures kit that we're using for this project. So you can log on and see this project anytime and use your goodies. So we'll give that away at the end. All right, and then this page is a kind of a mixed media paper, I would like to say. And I did the Lux on it, and then I have like this transparent overlay that I put on top, and I'll show you that. And oh, this is my favorite paper. It's a cork paper. I don't know. I'm going to try to get close up so you can see it. Can you see that? Cork texture. And then I layered with the stencil and all the Luxes on top. All right, and the last paper I'm using, this one is kind of like a cardstock or like a canvas paper. It's got a little texture to it. I don't know if we can see the texture in here. Maybe if I get close enough. Oh, yeah, you can kind of see the texture. See, it's like a weave kind of texture to it. So that is pretty neat. And I used the stencil at the top just right attached to that. So we're just getting clarification on the giveaway, and then we'll get started tonight. Because we're going to need, I'm going to kind of do more than one page at a time, because we're going to need some drying time with the Lux. It does take a while to dry, just to warn you. That it's going to take a little bit to dry. And I'm also going to add, I know in the kit it comes with the metallic blueberry and the metallic mint gelatos, but I'm going to also add in, for this project, I'm using a little bit of the iced coffee from the steampunk collection, just because I needed a little darker color to mix with my Lux to stand out against the blues and greens of those gelatos. So that's, but you could mix with any of the colors that you have. You don't have to mix with that one. Just wanted to make sort of a darker metallic shade there. Okay. Sorry, Jen, what happened? I don't know. So, am I still on? Are we all good? All right, so we're just clarifying that so you know all of that. These pages you could put together is a little book. It comes with a ring, a little jump ring that snaps on there, and I just decorated it with some funky ribbons that I had laying around. All right, are we ready? Is everybody ready? I apologize for my appearance tonight. I feel like it's a good thing that you can't smell me tonight, because I was running. I'm running, doing a training for a half marathon, and I thought it wouldn't take as long tonight, but it took a lot longer. So I didn't have time to shower and be pretty for you guys, so bear with me. You're not going to be looking at me anyway. You're going to be looking at the project. All right? So I'm going to pan down so you don't have to look at my sweatiness. And we'll get started. And I'm going to move this over so you don't see my messy part. Okay. Perfect. Well, maybe not perfect, but we'll get there. So I have materials laid out here, and I'm going to show you the pages. We have a variety. There's also this page that comes with it. I did not use this in my book, but it's an awfully cute page that you could add color to and make a, the title page or a back page. Okay. So that I didn't use this one. I don't know. It just didn't go with the flow of the book when I made it, so I excluded it. All right. So for this project, I'm gonna probably do some preliminary work a little bit and let it set up and dry. Okay. So for this one, I think the ones that have the thick metallic, I'm gonna be doing some and then setting aside, and doing some and setting it aside because I need it to dry in between. I also did this part ahead of time for you, but I'm going to show you how I did it. So we'll do that in a minute. But this one, we'll start with this paper and the cork paper because these have to dry a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to set that aside over here so I can see it but not be in the way. So I need my cork paper, and I'm going to use the mixed media paper to start with. Okay, we'll set the rest aside. And for these, this one I started with just some brush strokes of the Luxe. And what I'm going to do is just squeeze a little bit of this out onto my palette paper so that I can use it on a brush. So I'm just going to squeeze each of them. Now you can also buy these in a tub. These a little 2-ounce. Oops. That one doesn't. There we go. Okay. So the tubs. Here's a Texture Luxe tub. This is what the size they come in. Normally in a packet. Oh, 1 ounce. Sorry, 1 fluid ounce. And it's quite a lot actually in here. It'll last you quite a lot because you can use it very thin or you can build it up in layers. So this Texture Luxe in the tub is what you can sell. They sell all these colors in that. So if you get this kit's really nice to get a little feel of the product, and then if you really like it and you want to do more with it, which you probably will because you will love it, you can get the bigger size tubs. All right. Let's set that aside. Okay, so now I have I'm just going to set this over here. And what did I do? Hang on. Let me look. The bottom layer. Okay, so I am going to mix. Actually, I'm going to need a little bit of the pearl. And I'm going to put some pearl on here. Quite a lot there. I squeezed out a bit. And I'm going to mix it with some of that iced coffee that I talked about earlier. So I'm just going to kind of shave off a little bit. And the more intense you wanted, the more you would add to it. So we'll start with that and see how we are. And when you're mixing, you're going to kind of smush the color so that it becomes more mixable with this. And these palette papers, it won't stick, so it could dry on here and you can peel it right off. You can wipe it off, put it under, with a baby wipe or whatever to clean them off. So I was looking for not quite a silver, more of a pewter kind of color. And so mixing the iced coffee with the pearl really gives me this pewter, kind of a darker metallic look. Okay, so I'm going to hold this up so you can see it. So that's the pewter. It's almost like a silvery, but it's like a brownish silvery, like a pewter color. So I really loved that. So I'm going to start with that on my cork at the top with the stencil. And what I did is I just scooped some up and scraped it over this. Now these come in the kit to use. I mean, it's great for the kit because you have everything you need in there. You don't need to get anything else. But I prefer the palette knife, honestly, when I'm working. So you will see me kind of switching back and forth with that. I'm just using this because this is what was in the kit, and it's easy to use. But actually, I've kind of gotten used to my beautiful palette knife that comes in our tool set, and I really like using that. So sorry, that's might be confusing because you see it. And if I'm clearing my throat, I'm very sorry. It's been, with the run, it's been so cold out, and now I have like, a scratchy throat because of breathing in the cold air while running. Alright, so this is a paper stencil, but I use a baby wipe just to wipe it kind of off a little bit. So when I'm, using it, I just kind of wipe it off and it stays okay. It might get a little warpy after a while, but I find that it stays pretty good for a while, unless you get it really wet. Then you might have to let it dry. Okay. All right, so now I have a little more of the pewter. I'm going to start with that because I don't want it to dry out here. And I'm going to use a brush to pick up that, and this is drying right now, and we're going to work on our little brush strokes on here. So I'm just going to take my little brush and just kind of make these little rectangle brush strokes using the leftover. So I'm kind of spacing it out. And this gives kind of very modern metallic, kind of a tile appearance. Kind of fun, like tile. I don't know. I just thought it was a cool, easy way to get some background. Got some people. Yeah, it's like a brown. That coffee, iced coffee, is more like a metallic brown, but when you mix it with the pearl, it gives it like a grayish brown pewter color. It's a real pretty one. So I'm just finishing up with this and I'm going to just use up the rest of this so I don't waste it. And I actually will make a little more of it later for another part of the book. But I'm just kind of spacing this out a little. All right, so that's the first part of it. And then I'm going to wipe this off. So these nice little palette papers clean up really nicely. They're great if you don't have like a non-stick mat. Just gonna angle that up a little so you can see a little better. There. All right. I think while we're waiting for that part to dry, I'm gonna do the next one. I think I'm going to use the gold next, because on that page I just used gold, but we could use some silver in there too. So I just took some of the gold and I'm going to do the exact same thing. And I like when they overlap that you can see some of it showing through. I feel like I should have music going at the same time here. It's kind of quiet. And I'm not singing, sorry. All right, so this is so simple. Like really, any size brush, you can make these fun little swipes of color. And all I'm doing is just kind of eyeballing where it needs more. You really can't mess it up at all. All right, so we got gold. And now we'll do the silver. Which I didn't do on the original. But you can see next to, I don't know if you can see, I'll hold it up in a minute. You'll see the difference between the silver and that pewter color that I made with the pearl and the iced coffee. The silver is much lighter. So basically I'm just filling this page with these little brush strokes. You can overlap some of these. And when I'm overlapping while it's wet, it's kind of mixing together a little bit, which is kind of cool. I like it. The silver kind of mixed with the gold and it's making this funky thing. All right, so I'm going to hold this up and you can see that silver difference. All right, let's see if it'll focus on it. Come on. Oh yeah, there you go. Can you see the real metallic color? That pewter color is right here, right there where my finger is. And then the silver is right up here, so you can see the difference of how they're lighter. Definitely more metallic-y. I love this luxe. It's really shimmery. All right, and then we'll do the copper. This is my favorite color. I love the copper. It's really rich. And a nice true copper. I'm going to definitely be using this one a lot in future artworks. I used this in the last Ustream a couple weeks ago. We did the canvas for the new year and I used the copper luxe. Okay, we're going to let that dry. I'm going to add another layer to the cork one. I'm just going to use up the rest of the stuff on here. All right. And there's that. Yeah, sometimes it mixes or it overlaps and you can get a fun smeary look. All right, so that is going to dry. I'm actually going to set that aside and let it dry. Okay, and then we'll work a little bit more on this one. It's still a little wet, so I'm going to actually give it a little help with the drying. Let me wipe some of this off. leave that there. All right, so you can dry it with the heat gun, but be careful you don't hold it too close, especially on this cork paper. It'll burn the cork, first of all, and it will bubble up the lock. So I just kind of keep moving it around so I don't just to give it a little, it'll be a little tacky, but it won't smear. And then I'm going to use the stencil over it again. And for this one, we're doing the layers. Hold it backwards. There we go. So we're going to do the layers. So I'm going to do the gold next. So I'm going to do gold. And I am going to use my palette knife just because I like using my palette knife better. Just my personal preference. And I'm going to overlap some of the pewter with the gold. Not perfect, and I'm not covering the whole stencil, just part of it. And if you scrape it, it'll be lighter and it will dry a little faster. Scrape it down a little. But I do still want some texture, so I don't want to scrape it too much. Okay. There's the next layer. So that's got to dry just a little bit. And we'll leave that while we do the next thing. So see how I'm kind of going back and forth? This might drive some people crazy, and that's okay. I feel like it's okay to, you know, to go back and forth and work on a little page and then let it dry and then work on something else while you're waiting. So I am going to, let's see, we did that one. We'll work on the cover and we'll work on this one. That one we already did. This one will be last. Okay, so why don't we work on the cover for a minute? And that's this page. And it has a metallic gold border, which is really cool. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to stamp a bird on here with our Stampers Big Brush pen in black, and then I'm going to add the color. So I'm going to do the color after I do the stamping, because I want this to kind of be not hidden, but you know, like the haze of fog in front of it sort of look to it. And then we'll do this after. So the color is going to go on before I put on the Lux. Okay, so that is the plan. So for this one, we're going to stamp. And what I did is I used an older stamp that I got. I think it's a Maya Road set that I love. It's all these birdies. I've had it in my stash for a while. But I just love, I keep those around because I love the birds. So I put it on a block. And I'm going to color it with the Stampers Big Brush pen in black. You can make it kind of distressed if you want, or, you know, really cover this up good. Okay, so I'm going to have it going outward this way. So he's flying. Okay, and I love all these pens. These are, if you're new to these Pitt or these Stampers Big Brush pens by Design Memory Craft, they are India ink. So while this is wet, you could wet it and you could blend the colors and make them like run and smear. So you can use them wet or you can use them dry as a permanent color. So once this dries, it's permanent on here, and it's not gonna, I'm gonna add some wet layers to this, and it's not going to bleed or, anything once this is dry completely. So it kind of has to absorb and be dry. So I'm just gonna give it a blast with the heat gun just to make sure it's completely dry before I do the wet media. All right. Now I am going to add color, but I'm going to do it from the mat onto here. And then I'm also going to add some more directly to the board. So it's kind of like I'm working backwards. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is color on my palette paper. This one looks very light. I'm going to kind of really smush it around in there. Add water to it. Okay, now I'm going to add some water on this palette paper. And take a brush, and I'm going to mix some of the color, but I'm also going to leave some of it alone. But I'm going to directly add this to my paper. Or to the board, sorry, to the board. All right, so I'm just going to kind of add it on there. And it's, if you see this in real life, I don't think you can really tell right now, but it's very shimmery. And I can add water to this board. It's fine, it's not going to warp unless you get it super saturated. But the way I'm doing it right now, no problem. And you can see that the stamp is not bleeding or going anywhere because it's dry. So right now I'm just adding some puddles of this blueberry, metallic blueberry, and metallic mint. And this foil is going to resist it, so it'll show through the color. Even added thickly, very thick, you can see the color through it. Fantastic. This metallic mint is so pretty. Love it. Okay, so I did that. I give it a little tilt and let it kind of run down a little bit. You can even help it by adding that to it. I kind of move it around and let it drip and move. All right, and then we'll let that dry. With the heat gun, I will do that because I'm not patient and I don't want to wait. I'm not. I know some people can just wait, but no, not me. These are metallic mint and metallic blueberry that I'm using. They came in the kit. So these two colors come in the kit that I'm using tonight. So again, we're using the metallic textures kit. And those are the two colors that it comes with. Alright, and while this is, I'm just trying to make sure this isn't very puddly right now. I just want it to dry just a tiny bit more. Oh, use them over a layer. You can use them over layers. You can use them, mix them with the gel medium. You could do gel medium first and then do some layers on top. Yeah. Okay, so this is fairly dry. I am now going to add even more color to it because I want, if you look at my cover, I have some really intense areas on the outer edge and the corners over here. Oops, over here. Sorry. It's hard to work backwards with your fingers. And so I'm going to add that. So I'm using the metallic blueberry. And I'm going to just really layer it up. And I'm actually going to use my finger to smear it a little bit and blend it. And with this board, it's really smooth, so it's going to blend beautifully. And you can leave some of the edges showing or leave it thick in areas. And I'm going to use the metallic mint over that and really kind of blend the two. And that foil is still showing through. It's really kind of a resist on there. You can really build this up pretty thick with the color. Love using my fingers. Your fingers are your best tools. All right. And then finally, well, not finally, I got some more to do on here, but I've kind of framed in the bird a little bit, and I'm going to just add some of the luxe on there. And on this one, I made that pewter with the mix because I had made a lot, so that I used that a lot. But I think for this one, since it has the gold foiled edge, I'm going to use gold on this cover. Do a little differently than I did on the original one, just because now I'm looking at it and I made a different decision to do that. So I'm going to squeeze out some gold. Or maybe I'll mix the gold with the copper and see what happens. I think you guys were asking about that earlier. Let's mix them. Uh-oh, what kind of video issues are we having? Are you hearing me? Are you seeing me? I don't know. I hope everything's going okay. All right, so I mixed the two. And I'm gonna add this for the dotted one. Maybe it's our connection. Maybe the connection is. It's not me, because it's not pausing on me, but I'm the one giving it, so I don't know. So I'm just going through my stencil here. Added some dots. Oh my gosh, everyone is texting me. Please stop vibrating. All right, there we go. So, oh my goodness, what are you guys doing? Maybe if you refresh your end, it might work better. I don't know. Sometimes that refreshing helps. It's recording. I can't refresh mine. Otherwise it'll stop recording, which we'd had problems with Ustream before on some things. So, all right, so you can see the gold. I really like the gold on there with the gold with the copper. I don't know why my video keeps cutting out. It's not cutting out on my end. I'm not sure. Jeez. I don't know. I'm afraid to touch anything because I'm afraid it might do something. So I'm not going to touch my end. I don't. We've had issues with recording before, and I don't want to ruin it. So hopefully it records okay, no pausing. And you guys can come back and watch it again if you're having issues. I hope it gets fixed. All right, so we've done this part. That's going to dry a little bit. I'm going to add a little some drips of watered down Lux, but I'm going to wait till this dries a little bit. So I'm going to put that aside for a minute. And while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to do the next layer on this one, which is the copper. Copper. So we'll do some copper. And I need that stencil again. So here's our stencil. No, I thought it was dry. Not completely dry. My fingers look very pretty when I'm using the Lux because it's all like shimmery and I'm just giving it a little dry time before I put another layer on. Oops, don't hold it too close, it'll bubble. All right, pretty good now. Now I'm going to do the next layer, so I'm just overlapping my other ones and picking up some copper. So this one's kind of a work in progress. I just keep coming back to it and adding more. Oops, I need more copper. I love the copper. That is so my favorite. I'm so glad that they decided to create the copper. It made me very happy. I'm a big copper fan. All right, we got another layer on there. So it's almost like feathers. Like I'm layering feathers or fish scales, but I'm thinking feathers. All right, so again, we're gonna let this one dry a little bit and we'll work on another page. So I have a couple more pages to do. We're gonna do the mixed media paper one. It's kind of like a woven, I don't know. Oh, before I do that, I wanna show you how I made the wings. Oh, and the craft paper we have to do too, but that's all right. So I did wings on a couple pages. I did, yeah, it's the weather. No, the weather's good here for once. It's not bad. Yeah, I think it's Ustream. I'm sorry. It's not me. It's Ustream. So I made these metallic wings. I have it on that page and on the back page. These little wing guys here, and what I did with those is I created a skin. So these are a Lux, Texture Lux skin. Okay, so here's how I did it. I took my palette paper and I actually squirted Lux on here in the different colors. Okay, so I don't care where that goes, I'm just putting it on there. So I did silver, I did copper, and I did gold. And then I took the knife, or the palette knife, and I just kind of, like your frosting cake. And I'm going to actually mix them. So I'm overlapping and mixing. Not completely, but just so that some of the color shows through. And it kind of has this swirl of all of the colors. You want to keep some of the areas really thick. So be careful not to smush it down too much. All right. Now, this is going to take a while to dry. And you can't really rush this one on the palette paper. You kind of have to let it do its thing. So, you know, if you live in an area where you have a lot of sun, you could put it out in the sun, let it dry that way. Or if you don't and you live where there's a lot of snow and it's very cold, like me, then you would need to let it just dry. So what I did is I just did this. I left it overnight, and then it was perfectly ready the next time, or a couple hours. Okay, so I put that aside, and I just so happened to do one for you ahead of time and let it dry. So here's the one I did a while ago. All right, so I put a little on, and then now it's all dry. And what I do is I'm going to peel this off. So I just get it started. That's why you kind of have to have it a little thick. Okay. And the thinner parts are going to rip a little bit, but the thick parts, when you peel this off, you're going to have a very smooth side. So the bottom is very smooth. And then the top is very textured. So actually I did wings on one side for the texture and wings on the leftover of the other side. Okay, got it. It's a little tricky. So for this one, to make the wings, basically I took a little tracer. Oh, my camera's being weird again. See? Calm down here, camera. Sometimes it takes a minute to focus. Well, sometimes it won't. All right, being stubborn. Anyway, so you're going to take the tracer and find an area that you like. So I wanted a little of all of these colors. So I did it sideways like this. Okay, so you need a pen or a pencil to trace around it. And of course, it's easy for me to use the India ink on top of the Luxe. So when I'm just going to trace it. Come on. See, there's a good picture of that. No, I didn't die cut it. I had a hand cut it. I know that's a pain for you. I'm not sure this would go through your die cutter, but if you had like a spellbinder or a wings from your spellbinder from another die cut like that, where it goes through, not one of the electronic ones, but the ones that you crank through, that would totally work. You could do that. Yep, probably easy. That would be easy peasy. All right, so all I'm doing is just tracing around my tracer. I'm doing it the old-fashioned way, the hard way. It's a little harder this way, I know you gotta actually cut it out yourself. Ugh. It's like my kids at school, like, really? We have to draw it ourselves. We can't just trace it. Nope, you can't trace it. Well, actually you can. For this one you can. All right, so I am taking scissors and cutting it out. And then don't throw away the leftover, because you could totally use that for another wings or something, another embellishment. So once I cut out this one, I love how fun this is to cut out. It's just very bendy and flexible. Unlike me, I'm not very bendy or flexible. I'm a little stiff right now from running and sitting. All right, I love fussy cutting. I'm not being sarcastic. I really do. It's so relaxing to me. I don't know. All right, so now I've got leftover, and I'm going to keep it there. And now I've got my wings for part of my project. Okay, and I'm going to do a second set too. And this time I want the textured side, so I'm going to flip this over and trace on the back side so that I get the texture of the front side. Yeah, Vagabond, any of those things. I know, I do. I like the hand cutting. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. Some of you cringe at that. You love to do your die cutter. I think it's a pain to get out the die cutter. I don't know. I'm I just am weird. I like it to hand cut it. My hands are here. It's easy. But I do like the die cutters too for certain things. All right, so this is going to be for my other side where it's all textury. So you see I traced on the opposite side. Maybe you already know this. Sorry if I'm telling you if you already know. But if you trace on the opposite side, then the lines won't show when you go to apply it. But this you could put this through the die cutter. It'd be so fun. And I am going to have to try that sometime. Make a big sheet of it and send it through the die cutter. All right. So now you can see the textured ones. Can you see that? The texture there. Awesome. I love that. Okay. So this is all leftovers, which I may or may not use later. So we'll keep that over there. Okay. So now you got that. So I have my embellishments that I'm going to use in a minute. And I'm going to do this page now. This, which one is this? I'm having a hard time with this paper. It's kind of like a cardstocky type of paper. It's got that texture of cardstock. Uh-oh, we have some stabbing of scissors. Please don't stab yourself. No stabbing. Oh, we've got this one to do too. So I better hurry up. I gotta hurry. Sorry. All right, this one was super easy. Here's what I did. I'm going to use a foam, just a foam thing. So what I did is I took some of the metallic mint and just went on my palette paper here. And then I picked that up with the spongy thing, the foam. And I'm going to use my dots. All right. So the first thing I did is first thing I did is stamp birds, of course. Duh. So I took my birds. This is I don't even know what this is. Which one is this? Inka Dinka Doo. Birds. And I'm going to ink that up with my Stampers Big Brush pen. This does not come in the kit, but obviously you can buy it singly or in a pack. Okay. And I did this towards the bottom. These are just some little birdies on a branch. Okay. And don't forget to make sure it's dry. Lisa, are you being silly? Just talking silly stuff over there. Stabbing yourself. Be careful. Dauber. Thank you, Dauber. Well, actually, this one's not a dauber. This is a foam thing. I don't even know where I got this. I just like it. It's one of my tools that I found in my stash. I don't know where I got it from, but I like it. So, and it holds up to a lot of abuse. So I just did some dots with the dotted stencil, and voila, there's a dotted texture there. Very light and pretty. Pastel-y looking. I'm just doing some of those in some spots here, like that. And then I made a puddle. I made a mess. And what I did is I just took some of the metallic mint and the metallic blueberry. And I need some more of the metallic mint. And I'm spraying with water and making a puddle. All right, you can help it along by using your brush to mix some spots. Get it kind of flowing. So this is a puddle. I'm going to take said puddle and I'm going to press this down onto the puddle. So this is going to become a background color now. So now I'm doing this, watch. Like a monoprint. Rub and lift. Voila! And there you go. So I just kind of stamped it right off of there. So I made a puddle, I rubbed it, and now I have a monoprint of the puddle. Okay, super easy. You can make a background super easy that way. It's like the easiest background in the world. And I did the same thing for this one, except I also watered down some of the looks. So I used metallic blueberry mixed with, what did I mix it with? I think I mixed it with silver. A little bit of silver. Not a lot, just a little. With water. Mix that together. And you will get this gorgeous shimmery, so pretty. Even more shimmery than the actual gelato, and I think I want a little more than that. Put a little bit more log in there. Worm of, sorry, that was not what I meant to say. Look like a little bit of a silver mess in there. Okay, so here I'm going to take this, right, the right way, yes, and I'm going to blot that on here. And I'm going to pick that up and let that kind of drip. And if it didn't get all the way on there, you can do it again. Ooh, I like that. See that swirly, marbly kind of mess? All right, that's got to dry. All right, we're almost done here, folks. The embellishing part is really easy. You know, you can embellish it any way you want. I did do a few other stamping things, but I got to kind of let these dry before I can do that. Yay! We have 2 winners. This is the set you won. Yay! The metallic textures. Fantastic. So this is my favorite kind of way to add color to your page easily. Just color it on there, spritz it, and then stamp it on there. I'm just drying the back of that. Alright, so for this one I did kind of the same thing as I did on this one with the green, but I did, or the metallic mint, but this one I picked up some of the blues too and did some dots before I stamped my birds on there. I really like how that looks on that craft paper. These are just really easy ways to add some fun texture and colors to your pages. All right. Yes, I will post. I can write a post up on the blog to post a link on the video, but you can watch this video once I stop recording and save it. You can watch it anytime, so you can keep going. Do it, pause it after one page and go back and forth. So don't worry, it'll be there. Okay. And these little, oops, sorry, you can't see that. These little birdies that I stamped on here, I used the big brush pen and I used the Maya Road, but you can use any of your birdie or whatever motif you like. But I'm going to use these little outlined flying birds. And I think I used the big bird too on that page. Yes, at the bottom. Yeah, I'll just keep that one like that. So I'm going to do a couple of the black, and then what I did is I used the Luxe to stamp with. You can stamp with it. Yes, you can. You sure can. I could post them on my blog. I could work on that tonight. Just the individual pages so you can see each of the pages. Sure, I can do that. All right, then I used one of these little foam daubers. Lisa, this is the dauber. I used the dauber with, what color? Of course, the copper. Silly. I love the copper. And I just took a little of the copper and made it very thin. Oops. Well, maybe I used up all the copper. No, I didn't. There it is. I didn't use a lot. And I just kind of stamp it on here on the dauber. And then I gently stamp it onto my stamp. Now, because this is an acrylic base, you want to make sure you wash your stamp off when you're done. All right, and just stamp it, and you will see, I don't know if you can see the metallic. Can you see that copper birdie, maybe? Oh, over here. Backwards. Right there. All right, and then, so I'm going to do a couple of those. This is a fun technique because it's just so pretty. Very subtle. But shimmery and pretty. Okay, so you can see the birds on there. Make sure you wash your stamp. Don't let it sit. Oh, trying to get my baby wipe. Since I don't have a sink right nearby, that's how I clean it off. And then I stamped a big bird at the bottom. And then I have words that I added. I'm rushing a little because I know this is running over a little. It's okay. Okay, so then I did a bird down here. And then I did words. So I did wings 2. Wings 2. And yeah, you can use it in so many ways. I know we'll all be posting a lot of different ways we're going to use it because this is a big deal. And then I just added my own little dots on here. 1, 2. And that one I added my wings. So the textured wings, are added to this page. And I glued them, and then I added the little, this is a Prima zipper pull that was out a few years ago. I had a lot of them left over. And I'm just gonna, you could use this, you could use gel medium to apply it to your page, or if you have a favorite mixed media glue. Trying to get mine to come out. I just use my all-purpose glue here. And they will be gorgeous on there. I'm going to add this to it too. The middle is like the middle of the bird wings. And then I just took a pen and outlined around the wings when it was all dry. Alright, so that page is done. That one's done. Now we're going to go back to the cork page again. And I'm not going to take the time to embellish every single one of these pages. I will post the finished pages for you so that you can see them. But I'll finish a couple of these so that you get the idea of how to finish off a few of these more techniques. Right, so I have various layers. It's still a little sticky. And all I did for this one is add some color with the Lux, or the Gelato, sorry. But I have one more layer with the stencil in silver. And I actually stuck my embellishments in it. Thank you. Oh, the zipper pull was fun. I have sometimes just find things in my stash that I can use up that go with the theme or whatever. Oh, that's not going to be enough. I need a lot more than that. Just going to squeeze it on here. I don't know why I'm wasting the palette paper. I might as well just squeeze it right directly on. Oh, that came out fast. Yes. Alright, that's our last layer of feathery beauty that we can use. And while this is wet, I could add my embellishments in there. So for this one, I had a bird here, and I just colored it with the Lux. So I'm going to use a feather because I used up that bird. And I don't have another one of those wooden birds for some reason. So I'm just going to use a little bit of the gold Lux and my dauber and color this feather. You could use a brush too. You don't have to use a dauber. I like the texture though that it creates. Alright, and then I could stick that right in the silver and it'll stay. And I used one of these little nibs in here too. And if I stick it in the wet Lux, when it dries, it adheres. So it's on there. Good and done. Now at this point you could make a mist. I did that in the last video that I did. And then you can just spritz it on there and finish the color, you know, that way on here. And you could do that with this too. Or you could just, you know, add it with the brush wet. So pretty much either way is fine. You know, however you want to add your color to the background, that's how you do it. But basically that is it. And this is still very wet, so I'm not going to monkey with that for wetness right now. But one last thing I want to say before I wrap up, and then I'll tell you what's in the kit too, is you can use these stencils. When I'm all done with them, I cut them up and I used it on my pages in here. So, well, one of the ways I used it is I cut it and I stapled it with a little mini stapler. So I just cut half of it here and I just aligned it up at the top and I stapled it. So let me hold that up if you can see it. So it was already full of metallic lux and dried, and then I added the wings and the little embellishments here. This is just, I dripped some of the lux watered down the page and let it dry. So add all your designs with your stencil and then you can cut it up and add it on there. All right, this I'll just share with you this, but I'm not gonna have time to do that. But you could, I glued this flare on here, so if you can see the flare, and then I just took the Lux bottles and I drew with them around it with the silver and the gold. So I just squirted it and drew it around there and let it sit like that. So you get that. All right. So what comes in the kit? Well, I've used a lot of it, so I don't have a fresh kit to open up for you, but it does come with the palette paper. So you get 2 sheets of palette paper, and that's this non-stick mat that you can mix on and it wipes clean, so you can use it again and again. You can make, you know, it's the one I used for the, you know, smeared on the Lux and let it dry and then peeled it off, right off of there. So that's perfect for that technique. So that comes with 2 of those. 2 of this. Then it came with a very thin, this one's a thin watercolor paper. Okay, so these are the pages of the book, is the watercolor paper. It came with the 2 journal boards. One is this one, and the other one is the one with the border. That is the cover. So this cover one with a little scalloped metallic border on there. So these 2 boards. It came with the cork paper one. It came with the textured kind of cardstock paper. And it came with the craft paper page. All right, and then 2 of the stencils. So those are the papers. Then you get your little mixing knife to mix with. You get the metallic blueberry and the metallic mint gelatos. And then you get the 4 tubes of all of the colors of the Lux. So you have pearl, gold, copper, and silver. So you get all those. Everything comes in the kit. In the ring to bind it. Yep. Which I tied ribbon on to complete it. All right, so that's what comes in the kit, and this is what my project looks like. There's also a little booklet that comes in the kit, which I have right here. A booklet that has beautiful pages in here. It shows you what's in the kit. And then it has some techniques that you can try out for some of these pages that this artist made in here. and her pages in the back. And this is Jacqueline Sanders. Her artwork's in here. So this is the metallic textures, and you can pick that up. I think I don't know which retailers are going to hold it, but it's on our website. And there you go for tonight. We had a lot of fun with different techniques and different ways to apply the colors and the luxes that are in here. And I hope that you will try them out and come back, watch the video again if you need to do that. I will post the images of the pages, individual pages, so that you can actually look at my pages, and if you're recreating it, you'll get a better idea of what I used. I'm not going to go into every detailed, step by step with the pages, because you can come back and watch the video to do that. But I will post the pages, pictures of the pages, finished ones, so you can see that. All right. And that will be on my blog, which is, I have to remember what my blog is. Isn't that silly? Let me grab my card and I will tell you. My blog is Art Talk. Here, I'll type it in here. Art Talk dash Sigma Girl .blogspot.com, and I will put that up there tonight. There you go. Okay, and that's my blog, and I will put that up there, and you can see the pictures of it. All right, thank you. Thanks, Lisa, for moderating. I guess you kept everybody laughing with your wit and charm that you have. And Jamie and Katie, congratulations on winning your kits. And probably Michael's will carry them. I'm pretty sure that they will. Or you can find them on our website. I have any other questions? I'll be on after I stop the recording, and you can ask me then. Okay? Thank you. I'm not going to scroll back up to me because I'm a mess. So I'm stopping the recording.